Okay guys, today we are going to make this super easy Crockpot pizza bake. This is the perfect recipe during the week when you have to take the kids out for activities. Maybe they have a sports activity for an hour or two. This is the recipe that you want to prep, and it will be ready, hot, and delicious when you get home. So let's go ahead and check out the ingredients. Super kid-friendly meal, guys. The kids will love this, and the cool thing about it is you can mix and match your own ingredients, and I'll tell you a few suggestions in just a moment. This recipe that I am showing is a meat recipe, but you do not even have to include meat. You can include more noodles, you can include more cheese, you can include vegetables, maybe like green peppers or onions, or maybe some canned diced tomatoes. Whatever you want, you can make this your own. But what I'm gonna use today is the 16-ounce package of noodles. I prefer the thicker noodles, the fatter noodles. They just seem to work well when everything bakes together. I'm also going to use a 16-ounce package of mozzarella cheese. Now, I personally prefer the deli sliced cheese, but I do not have any of that in the refrigerator, so I'm using what I've got for this recipe, but you can definitely use the deli sliced cheese. A package of pepperoni. Now, I only use a half a pound of ground turkey in my recipe. The kids don't like to be overwhelmed with meat, so I am going to use a half a pound for this recipe and then cook the other half for like taco meat for my husband, and he can just eat it with a tortilla and some tomatoes and cheese and things like that. And then you'll also need some kind of sauce. Now, I am using a meat sauce. You can use pizza sauce. You could use kind of whatever kind of sauce that you really want to go ahead and use with this recipe. That is how easy it is. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and brown the entire pound of meat. Again, in my recipe, I only use a half a pound. I don't like to make it too meaty for the kids because this is, you know, you got to work with what your kids are going to eat. And my kids are kind of picky. Not too bad. My daughter is less picky than my son, so using half a pound of meat I found works way better for this recipe for us. And then also, while the meat is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and I've got water boiling right now, and I'm going to throw the noodles in and cook the noodles. Okay, so everything is still cooking, but I wanted to jump on and tell you why I like this recipe. I like it because in the summertime, if I get, you know, the kids want to go to the park, this is a great recipe. You can throw in the crock pot and you can go ahead, take the kids out for a while, come back in an hour or two, and it's ready to be served right on the table. It's super easy. Now, you don't have to put it in the crock pot. You can definitely use a casserole pan and put it in the oven and cook it. Usually it takes about a half hour, 35 minutes or so. You want to make sure the cheese is cooked well and everything is blended in really good. And another tip is you definitely want to make sure the noodles are cooked, but don't overcook them to where they start to be really mushy. You still want them to have a strong consistency, so when you put them in the crock pot, they don't get super mushy. Either way, it's still gonna work. I've had it where I've overcooked my pasta and put it in there and it's a little mushy, but with the cheese and the sauce, everything blends really good together. Guys, for me, what I do with the meat is I mush it up. My kids do not like any kind of big chunks like that, which I'm really particular with meat too, so I understand. So if you have a picky child, or, you know, just very sensitive with textures and things like that, like my son is, this is a good tip. Just try and smash it down so it kind of blends in with the sauce and it's not so thick, the meat pieces. So meat and noodles are completely cooked. So what I'm going to do is take about, just kind of layer what I want to put in the crock pot. So I'm gonna start with some noodles and just put like a nice layer of noodles at the bottom. And you can see how hot those noodles are, and just spread them around the bottom. And then I'm gonna take about half of my meat because I'm gonna make 2 layers. So this is only a half a pound. You can go ahead and use a full pound. You can put sausage in here. You can kind of just do whatever you need to do. But I'm gonna put and this is ground turkey that I'm using. You don't have to use ground turkey. You can for sure use ground beef. Use what you have. In this recipe, sometimes I throw in, like if I dice up really finely, green pepper, onion, whatever you have, definitely you can put it in. So now I'm gonna add in some of the sauce, about half of the jar or so. And then I'm gonna give it a good stir. And you can also add in different ingredients. If I had fresh basil, I would be chopping that up really finely and putting that in here. If I had, you could add in like Italian seasoning if you want more. When it comes to the kids, I try and make it more bland. They tend to like it that way. Okay, and I'm just gonna add a really good layer of cheese. Now, I have not started my crock pot yet. I set it on low. And like I said, it'll take a good hour to 2 hours for everything to get blended really well. Again, make sure that you're putting it on low. So I do that right before I'm ready to step out. If my son's going to karate, if the kids have something at school, if they want to go to the park, I know I have an hour and a half for sure before I need to be back. So what I'm going to do is I am going to mix the rest of the meat in the bowl with the pasta and then add the spaghetti sauce, stir, and just slam that on top of this mixture. So there's the rest of the noodles. Here's the rest of the meat. Just gonna go ahead and give it a stir, mix the meat around, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of my sauce. Get it all in there, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and mix this up. Okay, so it is all mixed here in my little bowl. And I'm gonna plop this on top of the first layer. Get it all in there. If you like it a little bit more saucier, definitely add more than a can of sauce. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and flatten it over the top. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the rest of our cheese, or as much cheese as you want, on the top, and then we're gonna add our pepperoni on top of the cheese. Some basil leaf here. I'm just gonna put just a very little sprinkle on top just to give it a little bit of color. And now what I'm gonna do is set my crock pot on low again for 2 hours, and we'll check back and see how this baby is doing. So it's been a good hour and a half. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, and we can go ahead and take a look. And here it's sizzling. I think it's good to go. The cheese is melted good. Everything looks fresh and ready to go. While this was cooking, the last 10 minutes, I threw in some frozen garlic bread, so we'll have some garlic bread with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate this, and so I'm gonna go ahead and just take a little chunk out of it. When it's heavy, check that out, guys. Look at how yummy that looks. You can see some of the meat. You can see the cheese, the sauce. Looks good. Okay, guys, and here it is with just a little slice of garlic bread. This is a real budget-friendly meal. It does not cost a lot to make. If you don't have the meat, you can make it meatless. Of course, you need the cheese. That is one requirement for this recipe, but everybody is going to love it. Let's try and zoom in a bit. And you can always add more cheese if you want to. But that is my meal for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, definitely give this video a thumbs up and let me know that you've enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more What's Cooking videos on my channel. And have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.